A lot of people think that summer is the best time of the year, but many people would disagree. After all, not everybody likes it hot. You know, in some parts of our planet the weather is always hot. Not just regularly hot, but unbearably hot. Sometimes it burns so much you can die. I'm not even joking. Today we're gonna talk about 10 places that will make you appreciate snowy and even gloomy days. There's a town in Sudan called Wadi Halfa. The highest recorded temperature was set this April. And guess what? It's freaking 52.8 degrees Celsius. I guess it feels like you're in hell or something. Although it seems like Wadi Halfa is actually quite suitable for life. About 50,000 people live in this town. Even tourists visit the place sometimes. The town is also well known among archaeologists. If you don't like dark, wintry days, then maybe you'll like it at Abbas. It's a town in Iran. There's one thing you should know before you go though. 53 degrees heat is a normality around those parts. Also, the air is quite contaminated. After all, there are 1.5 million people live in Abbas. So think again, maybe winter is not such a bad thing. Tirit Tzvi is a community in Israel. Located in the Beichin Valley, it is 220 meters below sea level. And even though the Jordan River makes it more or less bearable, during the summer the sun is so hot that it literally burns out the valley. The highest temperature was recorded in 1942, 53.9 degrees. It's not at all surprising that every house has a special kind of tent that protects it from the burning sun. Arouna is a very small village in Mali, very small and very hot. It is almost lifeless, nothing ever grows there, and rains are extremely rare. A long time ago, it was something of a transit point where trading caravans used to rest. The current population is about 300 people. As there are no such thing as caravans anymore, locals entirely depend on charity organizations such as the Red Cross. Timbuktu is a very old city on the outskirts of Sahara, about 20 kilometers away from the Niger River. If it wasn't for the river, the weather would probably be unbearable. 40 degrees is a pretty stable temperature around those parts, but 55 degrees is also quite common. Slowly but surely the city gets devoured by the desert. Perhaps in the coming years, the ancient city of Timbuktu will perish entirely. It may seem a little weird, but Kabylie is a place in central part of Tunisia where people protect themselves from heat. It's weird because the usual temperature would be about 55 degrees. On the other hand, there's water and quite a lot of palm trees. It's one of the hottest places in Africa. The town, by the way, is insanely beautiful. It is highly recommended by many travelers. A legend has it that Kabylie was inhabited by people over 200,000 years ago. Another cool thing about this place is that it's got the best date fruits in the world. There's no doubt about that. On the 13th of September 1922, the small town of Azizia went in history as one of the hottest places on Earth. Local weather station recorded 58 degrees, an insane temperature that people can hardly bear. In 2012, however, the World Meteorological Organization proved that the 1922 data was wrong. But even then, it's pretty clear that the region is super hot. An average temperature of 48.9 degrees is not a joke. The famous Death Valley was considered the hottest place on Earth for a long time. Located in the northern Mojave Desert, it's a sort of plateau, but the surrounding mountains reflect so much heat that the valley becomes a giant frying pan. It almost never rains. Despite a menacing name, only one man died in the valley. Some people say that Death Valley is a magical place, a place of power of sorts. Also, Death Valley is a home of famous sailing stones. Nobody ever saw those stones move, but they do move, and that's a fact. There's a place in Changshan called the Flaming Mountains. When you look at them, you realize why they call them that. They do look like flames, and the reddish color only adds to that. And it's not just that. As you probably have already guessed, those mountains are hot. They don't normally measure temperature in the area, but NASA figured out that at some point the heat went up to 66 degrees. It was the highest temperature registered in 2008. Alright, and so finally the hottest place on Earth. Dashtalut Desert is so dry and deserted there's no one to check the temperature. So again, the only way to measure it is through satellites. It took them 7 years to finally figure the correct temperature. In 2005, it turned out that the desert heats up to 70 degrees, so that's officially the highest temperature on our planet. Don't forget to press the like button if you like the video. See you next time!